Considering the 5 options of the organizational structures, in this lecture we are going to see the functional one. The functional structure is the typical evolution of the simple one, when the company is growing and a growing standardization is required. The functional structure is a structure in which people are organized because they realize the same function or the same activity, as the name suggests. In terms of grouping criteria, an input approach is preferred. Thereby, units at the first level of the organizational chart are identified grouping people that have similar competencies, and these are called functions or departments. On the contrary, the following levels might be still functional or could be arranged in other ways, such as per product or per geographical area. For example, in a manufacturing company, you could expect to have the production department, the purchasing department, the commercial department, and so on. As a matter of fact, some staff units could be present as well, such as human resource management or information technology management. Considering coordination mechanism, direct supervision is definitely the most relevant one. People are performing all the same activities, and so a person could control their work as well as coordinate their activities quite easily, in spite of the number of people involved in each unit. In this configuration, the range of activity each manager should control is somehow limited. Secondly, standardization is pursued because the level of unit formalization is pretty high. Mainly, process standardization is used through the development of quality manuals or detailed checklists to support each unit as well as each person in performing their activities. Competence standardization is used as well, because a stable process allows to standardize the competencies necessary to perform required activities. This kind of organization is mainly used to pursue efficiency goal. As a matter of fact, grouping together people that are performing the same activity is reducing time as well as cost of performing the activity, because people have an in-depth focus and synergies, as well as sharing of ideas and experience among people is strongly fostered. This is the typical organizational unit that allows to pursue economy of scales and economy of scope. Secondly, this organization is used to exploit specialization and people competence development. For the former, it is very likely that people have a pretty low level of horizontal specialization, with a main focus on a small number of key activities. For the latter, each person is devoted to the best performing activities, so allowing that each person is using her competencies at maximum. For example, in the manufacturing company mentioned before, people in the procurement department are organized in the same units to manage suppliers all day, to introduce a huge number of orders each day, repeating several times the same activity, and thereby also reducing the probability of mistake. In the procurement department, it's very likely that some people are devoted just to order management, generally called expeditors, and other people are devoted to scouting new suppliers and negotiating with them, generally called buyers. Moreover, buyers could share their experience about supplier management and could avoid the risk that two single buyers are discussing with the same supplier separately, without adequately use their bargaining power. In this way, the same organizational unit is enlarging the work volumes and a lower number of resources is necessary. On the other hand, some cons could be highlighted as well. First of all, this organizational structure is poorly oriented to effectiveness, because people are just oriented to their activities without paying particular attention to product, market, or distribution features. Thereby, the organization is quite slow to respond to specific requirements of a single product or customer. If the organization has not identified standard procedures to manage those situations, the organization could be stuck or not able to quickly respond to requests. In some exceptional cases, first-line managers are required to manage these kinds of situations. Moreover, the level of company bureaucracy is quite high, especially when the company dimensions is growing a lot. This is due to the high level of process standardization. This is going to slow down the decision-making process up to bad cases in which the company is not able to take decisions out of procedures at all. It is famous, the story of IBM, that became an elephant not able to take decisions anymore. At the late 90s, IBM was required to rethink about their organizational structure to avoid the risk that the required procedure formalization, driven by the company dimensions, were pushing the company out of business. In order to mitigate this risk, some macro coordination mechanisms, such as integration mechanisms, are used. For example, a clothing company could introduce a product manager in charge of aligning choices taken by different departments, such as style and design, procurement, manufacturing, branding, and distribution. This is a way to increase coordination among units, but as a matter of fact, is going to increase coordination costs as well. In which situation is a functional organizational structure preferred? As a matter of fact, it is adequate to quite stable contexts, where processes and products are quite stable over time. The extreme case is the situation where the company is mainly single product or single process. Moreover, it is consistent with those environment or strategy or market where efficiency is definitely a priority. For example, several logistic providers adopted this organizational structure to foster efficiency. Finally, it is more likely in not too big companies to organize processes without blocking the organization. For example, it is more likely to find a functional structure in a medium food company rather than in a big technological company.